again, a warm welcome, Flight Sim and other stuff, and this is one of those other stuff videos. It's about Elgato Stream Deck, and I did a video a couple of videos back. I did a short one about how I use the Stream Deck, and I really am impressed by it. So this is the newbie's guide. So if you've never touched the Stream Deck before and you're a complete newbie, this is where you start. If you're already using Stream Deck and you've already downloaded some profiles, then perhaps you want to skip this one and go to the next one where I start talking about Lorbe's Access and O's and other plugins specifically for Flight Simulator. But like I said, this is just to kick you off. It starts off with the installation and everything else. So, never done it before, this one's for you. Take care, and I hope to catch you soon. Let's get into it. Okay, and welcome to the first tutorial on the Elgato Stream Deck and using it with a flight simulator. And for the first one, we're going to do something very simple, very quick, and very basic. So, as you can see, I'm inside, in this case, Microsoft Flight Simulator, but this will work in any simulator and is easily adapted to any application you want to use it to. And if I pull up the Stream Deck, this is what we're going to do in the first tutorial. We're going to take you from a blank and empty Stream Deck into having a button, in this case for the A320, but again I'll show you how to adapt this to anything. When you press that button, you'll get each of the views that I've programmed into it. So if I was to hit the first button, it takes us to the tablet, and as you can see, the primary flight display, the autopilot, the eCam, overhead console, a lower eCam unit, throttle quadrant, lower pedestal, oh, and I've got two overhead panels, and the MCDU. And that's what we're going to do, and it's going to be very quick, and I'm going to show you how to set this up. And then when I press the Flight Sim button, it takes us back to the home page. So let's get started. Okay, let's start from the beginning. You've got your Stream Deck, and you've either gone for the large Stream Deck XL, you've got the standard Stream Deck, the mini, or you're just trying it out on your mobile. But having got your Stream Deck, you need to come to the elgato.com website, go to downloads, and you're going to select from here Stream Deck. Let's scroll down so we can see this properly. So we're going to scroll down to Stream Deck, and it doesn't matter which one you choose. You're going to download the Windows application and install it. And the first time you start it up, it will look something similar to this. Your bare bone version will not have all of these additional actions down the right hand side. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to concentrate on the actions that we need to create that view screen. And the actions we're going to use are the Stream Deck actions in that tree there, and the system actions there. So those are the only two that we're going to talk about in this beginner's guide. So these are your buttons, and depending on which version of Stream Deck you're using, the program will pick it up. If you've got different Stream Decks, it uses the same application for all of them. So we're working on the Stream Deck at the moment. I do have a Stream Deck XL, so there's my large Stream Deck, and I also have Stream Deck installed on my iPad, and I also have it installed on my phone. So whichever one you're working on, that's the one we're going to program. So if it's your first time, I suspect you've only got the one Stream Deck, and that's there. The profile is what we're looking at here. If you'd like to consider it, it's a page, and the default page or the default profile is what comes up every time you plug your Stream Deck in. And we've got a welcome button there in the middle, and if you press it, it will launch. It will take you to the Elgato website. In fact, if I press it now, and you can see it takes you to the Stream Deck web page. So that was me pressing it on the live system. You didn't see that. So the first thing we should do is have the default page, and I don't want to put all my buttons on that. I want to use my default page or my default profile as a landing profile for when I first switch it on, and then move to a different profile afterwards. So I obviously don't want this welcome button, so I'm just going to right click on it and select delete. And we're going to create a new profile. So from this drop down list, again, ignore all these others that I've already created. We'll create a new profile. And we're into profile 1 now. We will rename that later. And we have the welcome button, so we need to get rid of that. Delete. So we have profile 1 and we have a default profile. Makes sense if we go to edit profiles now to rename that profile 1 page, and I'm going to call this, so right click, select rename, and I'll call this a Airbus views. You can call it whatever you want. There's no save button or anything like that, you just close it. So we've now got Airbus views and we've got the default profile. Now I need to create a button that will switch between those two pages. And this is where we go to the right hand side, we find the StreamDeck, and we want the switch profile action. There's no highlight or anything there, you just click and hold and drag it onto the button. You get a default icon, and we'll talk about changing those shortly. And we're going to change to the Airbus views. Again, there's no save button, that is live on my StreamDeck now. And if I click the button on the StreamDeck, it takes me to the Airbus views. There are no buttons on here, so I want to put a button on here that takes me back to the default profile. So let's switch profile, drag, and from the bottom we're going to go back to the default profile. And that's how you switch between the two. Now at the moment it's a boring icon and there's no title there, so I can put in here something like home, and I can adjust the font size and color. So if I want to make it bigger, I've got that nice big one, and I can make it a different color. And if I press that home button, it takes us back to the default page, and again we've got this generic icon here, and I can change that to title to Airbus views. Can't spell like that. Doesn't quite fit in. I could either reduce the font size, or I can put a return in the middle here if you want multiple lines. Delete. And I'm going to center it, or I can put it at the top, or I can put it at the bottom, whatever you feel is suitable for your look. So we have a button that switches between the two. Now if you go back to my video, I actually put an icon on there. Putting an icon on here is really simple. If we click on the button up there, and then you have a down arrow in the top right hand side down the bottom here, and if I click on that, you can select an icon from a file, and I can just go through and find a suitable icon. So let's grab a picture and use it for Airbus views, and it'd be good to have a picture of an Airbus, of course. So one way of doing it, and probably the quickest way, is jump up into your browser and put Airbus A320 and find some images. So there's a suitable picture, and we should go right click and save image as, and give it a name, A320 JPEG. So we got a picture. Doesn't matter about the size. So having saved the picture, we can come back and from the down arrow go to set from file, find the pictures, and there's the A320 picture that we just downloaded, and you can see that is the background. And to be quite honest, you probably don't need the text anymore. So now I have a button, and if I press it on the StreamDeck, pressing the button here of course just takes you into the programming. You've got to press the physical StreamDeck itself, but when I press the StreamDeck it jumps to the home, and you might want a better icon here for home. So to get a home icon, you can either design one yourself, or once again we can use Google and just put home icon and search for something. I agree. Images, and of course ideally you want something that is royalty free. And there's a suitable one, so if I right click on this and save image as, and we'll call it home icon. So having saved the icon we want, we go from file, and then we go to pictures, and there's the home icon. And now we have, again, probably no need for that. So now I have my two pages. I have the home page, which has got a picture of an Airbus on it, which takes me to the Airbus page, and the Airbus page can take me back home. If you don't want the button there, you can just drag and drop it to a new location. So down there is probably the best place to put that one. Take you back to the home page. And while the Airbus is there, you might want to do one for the Cessna, one for, so you can build lots of aeroplanes and jump to the aeroplane page just by pressing. So the Airbus page. So how do I control views on the Airbus? Well, that's really relatively easy. You're using keyboard shortcuts. So control 0, control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And those functions are over here, and it's under system. So I'm going to open up system, and there's the hotkey. And we can drag and drop it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll do. And to program up these buttons, just click on it. Hotkey to assign. So you can just click inside there and do control 1, control 2, click in there, next button, click in there, control 3, next button, control 4, next button, control 5, whoops, click in there, control 5, next button, and then here we're doing control 6, control 7, and control 8. And it's that simple. I now have a button that will switch views on the aircraft. Home, press the Airbus, and now I've got the Airbus views. And we'll actually add 9 and 0 as well. So click to assign, control 9 and control 0 and control 0. So having programmed up my buttons, I can test them. I just drag this out of the way and let you see the flight simulator, and I'm going to press the buttons on the StreamDeck that's on my desk. So I press the first button, which is control 1. We have to highlight. The mouse has to be inside the flight simulator, of course, because it's a keyboard input. Control 1, Control 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And press the spacebar to reset. In fact, if I'm going to press the spacebar to reset the view, let's put that in to another button. And hotkey, move that down, click to assign space. So now I can switch between views. If I go to the tablet and then press the reset, I'm back to the beginning. So all that is very good, but now I'd like the buttons themselves to be pictures of those views. So I'm going to use the Windows snip tool. So you click on the Windows icon. If you've never used this before, you just type snip, S-N-I-P, and you'll see snipping tool come up, and you run it and it looks like this. So I'm going to create a picture for each view and save it to the desktop and then assign it to the buttons. So you click the new button and your screen now has an opaque overlay. You've still got the snipping tool on the screen here, but when I click anywhere on the screen, this box will disappear, and you can click and hold and drag to capture the screen. I'm sure you know this already. Bring this down, and I'm going to save this on the desktop, and this would be cockpit. And then I'm going to do a new one. Actually, before I do a new one, I'm going to change views. So Control 1, and then we'll go back to the sniping tool, create a new snip, and snip that view. File, save as, and we'll call this PFD. Okay, so now I have all my views saved as pictures on the desktop. We can bring the StreamDeck up and let's program these buttons. So the first one, Control 1, icon, set from file, that's the primary flight display. Get rid of the title. Control 2 is the autopilot. Again, I don't need. Control 3 is the eCam. Title. Control 4 is the lower eCam. And we work our way along. and we just go back a couple. That's tablet. And that's it. Now we have the first steps done. Still left the title up on that one. Let's get rid of that. So you can build my views for the different aircraft, and I can see them and quickly jump into it. Well, that's it. That's the first one. More to come. We'll talk about programming buttons, doing aircraft control, but already I think you're going to get an idea that there's a lot of anything that's got a keyboard shortcut on your simulator can be easily programmed into a key, and having been programmed into a key, you can then set whatever graphic you want for it. It's all very static at the moment and none of it's moving, and of course we're going to be moving on, and in the next session we'll start talking about lobbies, access and O's, and how you can put gauges and buttons and switches and things like that on. But this is just to get you up and running, and hope it's of use. Next session coming in the next couple of days.